Crew Pros, your single source for high-quality, affordable home services. If you are remodeling, repairing, or replacing, Crew Pros are the professionals that can do the job no matter the size. If you are thinking of remodeling your kitchen or bath, needing a new HVAC system, plumbing repairs, flooring, or a complete roof replacement, call Crew Pros. Crew Pros, proud sponsor of the Grizz 901 podcast.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What is up, Grizz family? Victory pod, victory show, happy campers. Grizz got the win tonight, 123-102 in what was an ugly game for 3 quarters for the Memphis Grizzlies. But coming to you live, I am Nathan Qualls, here listed as Nate the Great. With me is the always wonderful Luke Hatmaker. Luke, how we doing, bud?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm like you said, I'm very happy that they started playing good basketball in the fourth. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be as happy.
You are not kidding, man. For 3 quarters, I was an unhappy camper. And there's some things that I still am not super pleased about, but hard to be too mad when you have a 21-point victory and you only cared for 1 quarter pretty much. But before we get into anything, want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Zach Jaworski State Farm. The show is presented by Zach. I always say he insures Daniel on everything. If he'll insure Daniel, he'll insure anyone. But truly, they do home, life, auto, boat, whatever you need, jewelry, renters, Zach's got you covered. So give Zach Jaworski State Farm, serving the greater Memphis area, a call. They will take care of all your insurance needs. Great people. They really do give you a good service down there, take care of you, and they will get you on the road to financial wellness. There's a little buzzword for you. Like taking the office home tonight, I suppose. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's hop into it. We just got done with that game. And like we were talking about early on, not a super fun game for 3 or so quarters. So I was not super happy. But what is super impressive is you saw the Grizz, with the Heat when they played against them earlier on Monday this week. Is one of those where it felt like the Heat sort of just thought they'd be able to turn it up at some point and get the Grizzlies, and they didn't, right? The Grizzlies caught them without Ja, without Jaren. Dez obviously has been out for a while, and it sort of felt like the Grizz had the same approach to this game as the Heat, except for they just didn't let the Thunder score for the fourth quarter. I mean, I haven't even looked at the box yet, but 15 points. The Thunder scored 25, 27, 35, and in the fourth quarter, the Grizzlies were like, okay, that's enough of that. 15 points in the fourth quarter, and that's including a few minutes of garbage time. But what, obviously, like we said, there wasn't a ton going on as far as high execution, and except for the little things going on in the game. Obviously, Ja got his triple-double, which ended up being really impressive, but it was quiet for 2.5-ish quarters probably. But was there anything from this game you thought was a real takeaway, or you were just super impressed with, or super not impressed with from the performance?
So yes, and it's a combination of both. It's and we were kind of having a dialogue on Twitter about it. It's the lack of kind of any player other than Dylan to give Jaren the ball. Like no one was giving Jaren the ball. But when Jaren had the ball, he was the best player on the court. So I liked that Jaren was the best player on the court when he had the ball, but I hated how nobody was giving him. Like, it's like Jaren wasn't even playing in the fourth quarter or in the first quarter. Like the entire first quarter, it was like, where's Jaren? Yeah.
I was losing it because he's such a mismatch in any game, right? He's a walking mismatch, much less against the Thunder, man. The Thunder have nobody. They're guarding him with Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Like, what? And
who?
Part of it is I understand they were triple teaming him in the paint, right? Because I think Jaren dominated them last game. They played and they were making an effort to not give him the ball. But if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm like, you got to make an equal effort to give him the ball, right?
Yes.
And they just give it to him at the top of the key, because that's what's so beautiful about Jaren's game. He can knock down a three. or you give him space, he can take a guy off the dribble, or you can feed it to him in the post now, which is just tears to my eyes, chills, literal chills. No, it's awesome. But his game's so well rounded. There's so many different ways to get him the ball, and they just didn't. But lo and behold, he gets 3 touches at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and he puts them all in. It's like 7 points like that, right?
Yep.
But listen, I think that the Thunder did make an effort to make sure he didn't beat them tonight, and then the Grizzlies just found ways to win anyways. But let's talk
It's funny
about
because he still had our second highest plus minus.
– he dominated. Well, defensively, he was a machine.
God.
He finished with 5 blocks, 2 steals. Rebounding, he was away from the basket quite a bit tonight, but 3 rebounds, that's not anything to write home about. 5 blocks, 2 steals, 7 stocks on the night. I mean, it was absurd. They just couldn't get nothing when he was on the floor. Nothing was going for the Thunder offensively. But speaking of nothing going for the Thunder offensively, I want to talk about the Canadian matchup in this game. People love to talk about DB going against other Canadians. And I got to say, listen, I don't want him taking 19 shots when Ja's taking 16 and Jaren's taking 9. I don't love it. That being said, it wasn't like he was in like a terribly inefficient night. 5 for 12 from 3, 9 for 19 from the floor. And defensively, he held SGA. I guess the Grizzlies as a team, I don't know the individual matchups, held SGA to 9 non-free throw points. SGA, by the way, got 19 free throws tonight, 3 more than the Grizzlies as a team.
He could have tied his shoe, and I think they would have called a foul on somebody. It was just like it was rough tonight.
Well, and I gotta give him one thing. He has a really great pump fake, and he's really good at drawing the foul. And to be honest, I don't have an issue with that. There's definitely 2 or 3 where I'm like, come on, man, that's not a foul. He just fell. But my problem is when you're giving him that call on one end of the floor, and Ja gets hacked every time he goes to the rim. Make no doubt. I have no doubts about that. He gets hacked every time he gets to the rim, and they just don't make the call because they don't want him shooting free throws every time down the floor. But they, I just saw that comment. I just wonder what you were laughing at. Not yet, Daniel, not yet. But you got to make that call for Ja too. If you're going to make those calls for SGA, because listen, if it's a foul, it's a foul. But it's a foul on the other end, right? And for some reason, I don't feel like Ja has been getting the calls, and same thing, he gets hacked every time he goes down. But bringing it back, Dylan, great defense again on SGA. I thought the Grizzlies overall, they were able to lock it down in the fourth quarter, but there were so many lapses defensively. But there were some moments of individual defensive brilliance from Brooks, I thought Brandon Clark had some really good defensive moments tonight, which is really encouraging to see. And then obviously you got Jaren, who's the block panther, and he's just an absolute freak of nature. But what did you, obviously I'm a DB defender. I'm well aware that I live on a bit of an island. Did you see what I saw tonight? Because I thought he played really, really great defense on SGA, and I thought he played well offensively too.
Tonight is perfect Dylan for me. And he didn't have a lot of foul. Like, he didn't foul himself either, when Dylan can stay on the court and do what he does best while not running his mouth and not getting fouls called on him, that's great. He only had 3, if he can play that kind of defense, like an entire game, and not get the whistle on him, that's perfect.
Yeah, I thought he did really well defensively. I wouldn't say it was a perfect Dylan game. There was, like I said, anytime he's leading the team in shots, I'm not super happy about it. But, he shot almost 50% from the floor, shot almost 50% from 3. It's hard to be too mad at him about it. It was really just the main thing was
shots were falling tonight.
They were falling. So the problem was I was mad at everyone and their mother when they weren't giving Jaren the basketball. That was really end all be all. And so when Dylan decided to take a heat check 3 after Jaren just rattled off 7 straight points, that was when I was like, I have to be mad at Dylan for once. I got to be mad about it. Because he went 5 for 12 and shot almost 50%. Daniel in the chat said, why is Dylan taking 3 more threes than Jaren had attempts? Because he went 5 for 12. So that's why. Thanks for being mad at him so that I can get back on his side. But outside of that, we had Obviously, the most brilliant performance of tonight. Ja's second triple-double in 1 week. Second triple-double in 1 week. He has 6 of her career, which is already Grizzlies' franchise record. But talk about Ja a little bit and what he did tonight, because it was quiet until it wasn't.
Well, I think when people started booing him, it's like it reminded me of the tweet that Daniel has at the beginning. I felt you could hear some fans booing him. It was like quiet when he was shooting free throws, and it was right at the end of the third, and you just heard someone boo. And it's like I think right after that was when he had the dagger three, and then came and had the almost dunk roll off the fingers, and it was just he just turned it on after that. It was just every time he had the ball in his hands after that, it was like highlight reel, highlight reel, highlight reel. It was freaking awesome.
Man, I don't know what it is. Poku seems like one of the most unassuming players in the association, but he did something to Ja where he wants to bury the dude. It's every game he wants to freaking kill Poku. But that move he had, I think Brevin said, or Pete said, it was Dr. J-esque when he did that. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a freaking thing of beauty. But yeah, I didn't actually, was he getting booed? I didn't hear that.
There was someone. There was one fan. It was like it just sounded weird because you could hear it over the broadcast. It was like, what the hell is going on? Who's booing this guy? And
someone who is lit on a Wednesday night.
Yep, someone who's lit on a Wednesday night. And it was like after that, Ja was just like, okay, we're gonna win by 20 something.
Yep, and they did. Yep. And listen, it was
they did.
Once he turned it on, it was game over. It was curtains after that. Because once he turned it on, the rest of the team turned it on. It was awesome. It was awesome. But the biggest story of the night, that was the greatest performance of the night. Zaire Williams back in an actual uniform. No more street clothes for Z. Wasn't this overwhelmingly impressive performance? But I was super encouraged by what I saw. It really just felt like the shots weren't falling and everything else looked great to me.
Yeah, I was really pleased with the lineup that he was out there with. It was Dylan, Tripp, BCZ, and Tyus, I think. And that line, we built the lead every time those dudes were out there. And it was he's bigger. He's clearly bigger. And you can just see with the way he's defending guys. And even though it's like you said, it wasn't a flashy offensive performance, but he looked healthy and he looked confident. And for his first game back, I wasn't expecting a huge performance, and we got a lob to him at the end. And that's, I wanted to see, I was going to be pissed if we didn't get one of those, and we got one. So I was happy.
Well, and he was happy, right? You heard Brev say on the broadcast, you could see him really like let out a sigh of relief once he got that in. Because like, okay, I'm back. My knee's okay. I was able to go and get that. And it was good for him to be able to do that. But I know we talked a lot on this show specifically about him being possibly the second best defender on this team. Jaren was number 1. Zaire is 2 or 3, right neck and neck with Dylan because of that length. And you saw it come into play tonight a few different times. And one, yes, he's gotten taller 100%, which is going to be freaky. But 2, he was already great. He's got great defensive instincts. Him being an offensive player, he's going to be a weapon for this team. His defense is where he's really going to shine. I mean, it's sort of the Evan Mobley, Jared Allen effect when you have him next to a Jaren out there, next to BC. They can space the floor, and it's just trees everywhere, right? And trees that can move pretty well, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, Santi too. I feel like Santi had a game tonight, like,
dude,
and that's another guy, like another big, long, tall guy that can go down there and just get buckets behind the back dimes, like beautiful.
We're getting to Santi in a minute. We're not going to leave Santi behind after the game.
Okay. I'm jumping the gun.
That was so much fun. I want to make sure because there's not a lot to talk about with Zaire, but I do think for him coming back, everything was either a little long or a little short, but the shot looked good. He looked confident. His body looked like he was moving really well. I mean, I'm sure he's got some dead legs after as long as he was out coming back into real game action, but he looked awesome. Everything was encouraging for that, and the shots are going to fall. I got no doubt about that. So that's it for Z. Santi, dude. I was sitting there when he made the behind-the-back pass to BC. I was just looking at my Wi-Fi. I was literally laughing hysterically because I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was looking, I go, he's gotten so much better, so freaking fast. It's just unbelievable. It's like we were in summer league, and I'm saying nothing about him verbatim. I said nothing about him looks like an NBA player.
Yep.
He could start for this team, and I would have the utmost confidence in him to go win. Utmost confidence. Yep. It's insane.
He's getting better game to game to game, man. That's what's weird. Like, I had a feeling, I thought he was gonna be better. I didn't think he was gonna be this good this early, but I mean, he is already so good. And if he keeps playing like this, it's insane. Like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be like 1 seed or bust once we get everybody back. Like, the way they're playing right now without Dez, it's just, come on.
Well, I think it was 2 weeks ago, came on after one of the games. I don't know. I haven't been on a ton of the post game so far, but I told Danny, I was like, dude, once they get Dez back with Jaren playing the way that he's playing, I think they're the team to beat in the West. I'm watching the Celtics just emasculate the Suns right now on ESPN.
What's the score?
The Celtics, it's a 20-point game the last time I looked up. So I don't know what it is right now. They're a commercial. But in the West, it's wide open. This team will go as far as Jaren Jackson Jr. will take them. And right now, Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing in a way that will take them as high as they want to go. Because he is reaching his full potential. He's got the post moves down. He's being smart with his fouls. He is putting all kinds of good games together on the offensive end. I don't know what you want. And so when you get them back healthy, dude, it's awesome. But Santi, he is working on his game in season because that little catch and shoot three, I think Bogdanovich, Detroit Bogdanovich, is the one that I saw do that first and does it the best. Santi's got it down, man.
Where the elbows don't come down. They just stay. Man.
That's awesome. It's so much fun, dude.
How many of those did he hit tonight?
He hit 2 at least of that specific. I don't know how many threes he hit.
He was total. 2 for 4.
2 for 4, and they were both the catch and just let it loose. It's awesome, man. It's so much fun. Beautiful. And the one that was a moonshot against the Heat, dude, that was fun. And let's talk about the Heat.
One thing that you just mentioned that I love that we don't have to talk about is Jaren fouling. Isn't it nice that we don't have to talk about that?
I know he had the one foul 80 feet from the basket at the beginning of the third, and I was like, no. I was like,
is that the one where what's his? I can't say his name. I'll butcher the name. Where the coach was like, no. Where
I have no idea.
Get tossed.
Oh no. When Darko came up and it was the one that was like 80 feet from the basket at the very beginning of the quarter. I was like, that's the kind of foul you can't have. But for a little bit, I want to get back to this game. There's one more point I want to talk about. But let's talk about the Heat game the other night because we didn't have a post game after. Personally, I don't think there's a ton of 2022-23 takeaways for it other than what I want to talk about to tie into tonight's game. We'll get to in a minute. But as far as the young guys who are still trying to make their way, there was some really, really impressive stuff. So obviously, number one, and I know is a personal favorite of a lot of the Grizz lead crew, Kennedy Chandler. Kennedy Chandler has been the definition of unplayable, in my opinion, when he's come into these games. Like when it's Tyus, obviously we're fine. But when Kennedy Chandler comes in as a backup point guard, that lead was fun. That was nice to have that. Dude, he showed some real growth in that game, though. He looked awesome.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like when he's kind of been thrown in garbage time, he's just kind of looked like a deer in headlights. And I like him. I like him, but it seemed really fast for him. But that game it just felt like it was a different player than what we've seen. And I don't know if it was a matter of, I guess I have to play better now because I'm going to play more. But he really did. It was impressive. it gave me a little bit more hope that we signed him to, because he's going to be here for a while.
Yeah,
you
just wanted to
years.
succeed, right? Hometown kid.
Yes.
Ja loves him. He loves Ja. Just a guy you want to succeed, right? And he, more than anything, I thought played with confidence against the Heat. He wasn't hesitant, and he was like, I can take these guys off the dribble, and I'm gonna take these guys off the dribble. And he did. It was fun. Yeah, Daniel says then he got thrown out of the hustle game the night after. Yeah, that's not ideal. Like I said, he loves Ja, who just got thrown out of a game. So he's just trying to emulate his mentor, right?
His mentor, yeah.
But he had some really nice passes. And, I was listening to Chris Vernon's show today, and they put it best. You had to be watching the game to fully appreciate it. And so if anybody out there has not watched that Heat game and did not get to see Kennedy Chandler, go see it. You're going to be, the whole game, super fun. They beat the freaking Miami Heat with the B, C, and D lineups in. But Kennedy Chandler showed real promise. And
I think Vince Williams, too. For what?
Exactly what I was about
We're
to
on the
say.
same lake. Yeah, you get it.
He obviously didn't knock down a shot, but to be honest, him being able to knock down shots is the last thing I'm worried about him being able to do if he is in an NBA and if he's in a Grizzlies uniform, right? Because we've seen what he can do. He's doing it with the hustle already. Defensively, he did not miss a step. Not a step. And that's when he came in, I said, best case scenario, he becomes the Grizzlies version of a Cam Johnson, who is 3 and D. Super long wing that can knock down a shot. Every once in a while, he's going to be athletic and do something different. But that's it. He's just running up and down, defending, knocking down shots. If Vince Williams can defend like that with the length that he has, and he can hit those shots, he has a real place in the league. I was super encouraged by the defense.
Well, I just haven't watched a lot of him. And so not that I've written him off, but he is the one rook of our 5 that I don't know as much about. And
right.
When he came on the court the other night, I was like, holy crap. Like, it's like you said, the defense was like a guy who wasn't the 5th rook that I forget about. He played defense like a guy who could have gone drafted like much higher than he did. He was locking down the starters for the Heat, like he wasn't locking down a C squad. He's locking down NBA players.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is credit to the Grizzlies organization because they do this time and time again. Nobody missed a beat coming in and playing at an NBA speed, which 20-something games into a rookie season, especially for 2 guys who get no minutes with the actual or in their actual rotation, it's impressive, man, to not skip a beat and just come in and really a true next man up mentality and be able to actually execute it, right? Not just to know it, but to actually execute it. Super impressive, which brings me to the not skipping a beat part and being able to really fit in. My guy. He freaking, what did I tweet out? Get Roddy bodied OKC with that hammer at the end. My guy, David Roddy, is showing everybody exactly what I saw. Daniel's like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I'm like, all he does is get rebounds, have awesome drives, and throw down hammers on people's heads. Like the dude, but now he's defending. Mm-hmm. And now when he comes into the game, I'm not worried about us getting cooked on the defensive end, which is what I was worried about all when he was coming in. And now he's actually knocking down threes. I mean, he's shooting close to 40% over his past 5 or 6 games. It looks night and day. He already looks like he's taking the Zaire step.
He is separating himself from Jake so much. And I've been the one preaching, like, give Jake LaRavia more minutes, and whatever's wrong with him, he's not playing. And Roddy is he's like, cool, I'm taking the minutes. I'm going to do the most with him. And he's getting confident, and a confident David Roddy is a dangerous David Roddy, because the dude that we've been seeing it can frickin' hoop. Like, it's awesome. I want him in the rotation now. I want him to be the like 10th guy, the 11th guy. Like, he's proven that, one, he could play in these lineups, and 2, he's just got it. I don't know. If Daniel said he didn't have it, he's gotten it for me in the past, since Laravia's been gone and he's been able to take all these minutes, he really has done the most with it.
Well, it's proving basically that I could and maybe should be an NBA scout, because from draft night, before the draft night, all the way through to now, I never lost faith. I said, yeah, he looks rough, man. He's definitely got some catching up to do, which was correct. But man, I was like, he's going to be that big, can play a little bit taller than he is because of his thickness on the defensive end side, and his ability to drive has really surprised me. But him being able to knock down shots and fit in it's not surprised me really that he's been able to do it. It shouldn't surprise at this point how quick he's been able to get up to speed. Really encouraging. Obviously with Jake, it's tough because not being able to play, it's just like, it's got to kill you, especially as a rookie, right? Especially he started out so well. He clearly looked better than Roddy out to start. That's not to say Roddy wouldn't be outperforming him at this point anyways, right? There's no telling, but you hate that a dude just can't get any minutes, and can't get any playing time. And hopefully he gets better soon. We'd love to have a true full healthy roster, but got hit on this. Daniel put it in the chat, and I'm just seeing it now from Grizzlies PR. Desmond Bane updates. Gradual, let's say, progressing in his rehabilitation, sprain and sesamoid. That's a big science word. We need Andrew for that one. A gradual reloading protocol. A return to play is projected in 3 to 4 weeks if the toe responds positively. 3 to 4 weeks. We are at the
Christmas?
7th. No. That's if we're at the 7th, 21 days is the 28th. So 3 weeks from today would be the 28th, which means he will miss the Christmas Day game. So that's a huge bummer. That is a massive bummer. So it's looking like we are not going to have Desmond Bane back for the Christmas Day game, which his toes are tricky, man. And it sounds basically like it's turf toe to me from what I've heard. I don't really know what it is. But turf toe's tough, man. And you don't want to mess with it because it's so easy to re-injure. It can really hinder you when you are playing. So definitely don't want to rush him back, but that sucks.
That does suck.
That sucks. He won't be in there. But listen.
He probably won't make the All-Star game.
He will probably not make the All-Star game, which I'm glad I wasn't in Tennessee because I would have put money on that. So I'm glad I haven't been in Tennessee for that part. But,
shoot, put money on Jaron making the All-Star game. We were going to send 2. We knew we were going to send 2.
No, they got to actually passing the ball for me to do that. Plus, with the way Anthony Davis is playing, no other forwards are going to be talked about at all for the next few weeks because a Lakers playing well. I hate that. Hate Desmond Bane. Was really thinking he would be back soon, I thought, but I was obviously wrong on that. And I was wrong about Zaire coming back way later. So, hey. There's one good thing I was wrong about, but
you Desmond Bane, you take the bad.
Desmond Bane projected back in 3 to 4 weeks, but that sucks. But that's going to be that. So no reason to talk about that anymore. Like I said, there's nothing to say until we hear more. But wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully he comes back on the soon side of those 3 to 4 weeks. But back to this game. Like I said, I thought it was a ugly game that the Grizzlies didn't care for 3 quarters. It's impressive that they cared for 1 quarter and won by 21. But I don't think there's a ton of takeaways other than John Morant, freaking nature. Dude is playing out of his mind and doing it in a lot of different ways, not just scoring. Jaren looked awesome. Dylan, I thought, looked good. I want him to not shoot as many shots, but if you're going to shoot 50%, that's not complain about. Everybody looked good in their minutes. I don't think there's much to take away from it other than that. I think the biggest takeaways are Ja, Aldama, and Roddy. And obviously we're happy.
Giddy drove toward the basket a little bit more tonight than we're normally used to seeing.
He did, and I'm actually good with Giddy drives as long as they don't end in a floater. I hate when he takes a floater. It's not his thing. I'd rather him take a pull-up jumper than go to the floater. Not much to take away from this game. You have anything else outside of that? It's a lot of encouraging stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, what, this 5 in a row? 4 in a row?
That's 4 in a row. There was the battle of 3 in a row. So the Grizzlies extend their winning streak. The Thunder gets snapped. And listen, one thing I think that is important to say is the Thunder have been playing really, really good basketball this year. Really, really good basketball. And even when they lose, they tend to push teams all the way to the edge, right? They really push teams to earn those wins. And Grizzlies beat them by 21 tonight. That's awesome. Listen, that's a lot to be happy with, especially when they obviously played for one quarter at full speed. So I think that about sums it up. Looking ahead, we have the Pistons on Friday. Then the Grizzlies get the rare 2 days off until they play the Hawks on Monday. That's going to be nationally televised on NBA TV. But let's take a look at the Pistons game real quick. I don't think there's too much to talk about as a Pistons or a team they just saw and just handled pretty well. But anything you're looking for in that Pistons game?
I would like to see. I mean, I thought tonight was going to be the Jaren masterpiece game. I would like to see that soon. I mean, he was waving for the ball a lot. I'm not encouraged by that. Like,
yeah, I think
recognize
he's got to. There's part of it, and listen, I was watching this game with my wife, who I'm the big basketball fan, but she played college basketball. She actually understands the game on a much higher level than I do. And she's telling me during the game, she goes, because I'm losing my mind, right? I'm truly going a little bit ballistic. And she's saying, he's got to demand that ball more. And I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? And it's the way their system works, where it's Ja, and you play on the perimeter, and you look for drives and kickouts. It's their offense. But I think she's right in that every once in a while, you just got to get in there and just put your hand up, and you're just not leaving, right? And you got to yell for that ball. And listen, they want to give it to them. I know they do. I don't think they're intentionally not giving it to them, but it's a part of their offense that they don't naturally do, that they need to learn how to naturally do, because it needs to become another arrow in the quiver, so to speak, for them. So we like to see him do that against the Pistons. I got a feeling it's going to be another big Ja game. I think they have nothing to stop Ja Morant, and it's going to show. I hope we get to see a little bit more of a competitive game with Jaden Ivey, though. I want to see Jaden Ivey show why he got picked was one of those top 5 picks.
You think Jalen Duren goes off since he's coming home, come back to Memphis? No.
No. I think Jalen Duren is going to be a really good role player in the league, but I mean, he's a freak of nature for sure, but it's one of those things where now he's going up against dudes who are just as freaky athletically as him. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is Jalen Duren plus a 3-point shot, plus a dribble, plus a lot of lateral movement. That Jalen Duren's super athletic, but now he's going to be more athletic than a lot of guys. He's not going to be more athletic than Jaren. And I don't think that's ever going to go very well for him. And he's not going to be stronger than Steven Adams. So no, and listen, that's a rough duo to have to come mess with if you're rookie Jalen Duren. So no, I'd much more expect to see Jaden Ivey do something if anybody does.
I really enjoyed watching Steven Adams throw Poku on the floor.
Dude,
I thought
Poku.
Poor Poku.
I don't get it, man. It's like, because I'm part of it. Part of me is like, man, screw Poku. But I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know why.
Me either.
Like, I don't know if it's because obviously being Memphians, we're big fans of Chris Vernon and his show, which means we're big fans of The Mismatch, which means we listen to him and Kevin O'Connor talk about Poku a lot. I don't know if it's just that part of me that thinks it's hilarious to see him get pwned because of that. But there's something where I'm just like, yeah, give it to Poku. And I'm like, but he seems like a really nice kid.
Put his ass on the ground.
I don't know what we're doing, but well, the Jalen Duren return home, we'll see. Steve Adams throwing Poku. I just try not to trash Poku because part of me wants to, and the other part of me is like, you have no reason to.
He's done nothing
to us. But he obviously pissed off Ja, so I guess we can be pissed off by proxy. But I think Jalen Duren will get manhandled by Steven in exactly the same way, and he'll get out athleted by Jaren. So don't expect much. I'm hoping Bogdanovich has a real good insider conversation with some Grizzlies while he's here, as rumors about him swirl around. I've been trying to get him for a while. But any predictions for that game that stand out for you? Anything that you want to put out to get people to bet on so they lose some money?
Oh yeah, you don't want my gambling advice. Do whatever seems normal. Do like extra just because you think you're gonna win.
Yep.
That's what I do, and then I lose everything.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
time.
Get real confident for no apparent reason.
Yeah,
I would say
it's like Dylan will make 5 threes every week.
I anticipate a big jaw game. That's all I got for the Pistons game. I anticipate a big jaw game. Either do points, rebounds, and assists, or just points, but expect him to do a lot of things. Other than that, I got nothing on that game. And then in case you don't hit on it, what about the old Hawks? Dylan thinks he's going to the All-Star game as a participant. He's going to need a ticket. I don't know why we're having Dylan slander on a game where he shot 50% from the floor, played really good defense, other than the fact that he didn't pass Jaren the ball. But guess what? No one passed Jaren the ball. So I don't know why we're getting mad at him about that.
I think we're going to destroy the Hawks.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get to. I completely lost my train of thought from that.
I got you.
I think everyone's destroying the Hawks right now, and they're doing it internally from Trey. So
I would say New York is this right? New York just beat him today by
20 something, right?
Like 20 something.
They beat him pretty good. But I also just think, and listen, I think this is the biggest takeaway from the season so far. With Jaren Jackson Jr. playing the way he's playing, there's no one you can't beat. No one. No one you can't beat on a given night.
No one has anybody they can throw at him, dude. Nobody.
Listen, Ja is the engine that makes this show run. Dez is the freaking jet fuel that sets it on fire. But Jaren is just the freaking foundation that just makes everything where, boom, it can go a little left. It can go a little right. It's never going to go off the rails. Mm-hmm. That is Jaren. And that's what I'm telling you. Jaren, just if he can play to this level, I'm so excited for this team. I'm so excited for this team. There's nothing they can't do. Daniel, here, I'm going to actually throw this up. Daniel said the Grizzlies are winning because of size. Everyone went small, but the Grizz didn't. The Grizz have size, and they sacrifice nothing doing it now. Nothing. That's the biggest thing. And now that's where something like an Aldama comes in. Because let's say they take Steve-O off the floor, right? Which I think the Grizzlies
that was a problem last series.
It was, especially against the Wolves, I thought more so. But
yeah, he was unplayable against the T-Wolves.
Well, and the Grizz have sort of unlocked a way of playing where they figured out how we can keep him on the floor. This is going to be a lot harder defensively on everybody else to do it. But even if they take him on the floor, you throw Aldama in there. You still have the size. You don't have the muscle, but you got the size, and you're able to space the floor still and keep up those smaller lineups. The Grizz size, being able to come in and not sacrifice any perimeter play, not as on both ends. You can shoot and you can defend on both sides of the court. Gives them something that is just hard to find, right? And it's something you see like the Celtics. The Celtics are doing that right now, but it's not with real size. It's just with guys who are savvy vets like Horford or people like Grant Williams who are sort of the David Roddy sort of types where it's, okay, I'm a big dude. I'm going to use that to make up for the length I don't have. The Grizz have the length. They have the basketball size and are still able to play that way. It's freaky, dude. It's freaky.
If they would just let him go, just let him go. Let him be the freak athlete that he is. We're going to be fine. We're already fine, but we could be freakishly fine if they just let him go.
Yeah, it's more than freakishly fine. But speaking of being freakishly fine, if you're worried about things going wrong in your life and you want to get some insurance, call a guy, Zach Jaworski, State Farm. Listen, I've got it, man. I've got the improv down. Zach Jaworski, State Farm. If they'll insure Daniel, they'll insure anybody, and they will take care of your auto, home, life. Renters, got some jewelry you need to get covered. I know me and Danny always hit on that because we've got some real expensive jewelry sitting on another hand in the other room. So they'll take care of you. It's truly they're good people down there. They take care of the greater Memphis area, and they will do a really good job. Tell them that the Grizz 901 crew sent you. Zach Jaworski, State Farm, ZachInsureMemphis.com. But truly, with Jaron, it's one of those things where now you have all that size between him, Aldama, Steven. They're going to be fine. But looking ahead, I don't think there's too much to look at. I know the Grizz are in the third game of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game homestand. I came into it thinking if you do 3-2, that's a good home trip. They had a couple of tough games in there. They're now at 2-0, heading into what should be a locked-in W against the Detroit Pistons. Then you take on the Hawks, who we both agree they should win. And then they've got the Bucks, which will be a real test. That'll be a fun game. I expect that to be a high-flying, high-octane game with everybody locked in. Everybody locked in on that. So I think that'll be fun. And I think the Grizz will be favored. I think the Grizz will be and should be favored against what is widely considered to be top 2, if not number 1 team across the league. So ought to be fun. But that's about all I got for tonight. Good win. Grizzlies again win 123-102 against the Thunder, despite the fact they shot 16 free throws and SGA shot 19 himself. NBA official, get it figured out. This is miserable every night to watch. But other than that, you got anything coming out or that you want to hit on over the next few days? Anything I didn't talk about looking ahead?
No, I'm good. I'm good, brother.
I've about had it with these officials, man. I tuned in.
I know
you're random game the other night, man, and it was like the Hawks and the Sixers, 2 teams I don't care about. I would love for them both to lose, and it's just terrible. It's terrible night in and night out. It drives me crazy.
That's why I love it because you don't just hate our games. You hate it across the board, and I love it. I love that you hate it so much.
Listen, and I know I'm a generational ref hater. I do not pull punches. I do not pretend that I have not despised refs for a long time. But I also will be honest and say, hey, they didn't lose because of the refs, right? I said against the Timberwolves, I'm like, they can be mad all they want. It's not the refs' fault they lost that game, even though the refs were pretty terrible. But man, when I'm tuning into a Hawks Sixers game or a Suns Celtics game or whatever it may be, there was like a Mavs game. I don't like the Mavs. I hate the Mavs. But I'm like, what are we doing? It's unwatchable at points. So it's gotten brutal. But anyways, that's not the note we want to end on. We're here. We want to be positive here. That's why I want them to get it figured out so I can just be positive about everything, not just the Grizzlies, but a lot of fun stuff. Team's doing really well. They're playing really, really well, and they are still yet to have their starters play 1 second together on the court. So a lot of good things ahead. Bright future ahead for the Memphis Grizzlies. Looking forward to what they're going to do over this week, and hopefully it'll be 4 wins that culminate in a 5th win and a really fun high-octane game against the Bucks. But we'll have somebody back on here talking to you again. Thank you to everybody hopping in the chat, hanging out with us. It is a lot of fun hanging out here with you guys. It's a lot of fun seeing a lot of stuff grow. We got a huge number of views. We were getting close to 2-something, 3-something last time that I checked on the YouTube feed. So if you haven't, go and like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Grizz 901. And other than that, we will see talking to you guys on Friday. Have yourselves a great rest of your week, a very Grizzmas type of week with the way things have been going. And as always, be nice and tell your friends. Luke, thanks. I'll talk to you later, bud.
Thank you, brother. Bye, man.
See ya.